Hi, my name is Amanda Winley. I am the writer, director, and producer of the Evangelion dub, and this is the commentary track. I also played the role of Rei and Yui and Pen Pen.
Hi, I'm Jason C. Lee, and I played Aoba in the Eva movies, and also I co-produced with Gaijin Productions with Amanda, my wife.
Hi, my name is Taliesin Jaffe. I'm just here to add a little bit of interesting little factoids about this film, and was a brief voice actor for the Evangelion movie.
Taliesin played several different roles in the Eva movie. He does
the dying guy.
Dead on Sean Connery.
We all know Sean Connery is involved with the end of the world.
Sean Connery is a harbinger of the end of the world.
And Godzilla rises.
He's one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, actually.
Once again, with all the logos we have, little scratchy.
My favorite logo in the world, by the way. The little guy next to the little 7, the move film 7 kind of.
Wow, was that you?
Yeah, that
noise?
was me. I'm famous for that. I do cats, I do dogs, I do strange creatures and all sorts of things.
No, he just made some gastric. He experienced some gastric distress.
Now here's the scene I talked about at the end of Eva, where it's basically the reverse shot of the final credits that we see.
At the end of death. You're right.
Wow.
You're the smartest.
And it's into the blue. We've gone from an orange shot over there to the blue over here.
Right. And I just discovered that just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So you still discover things in this movie that you did not notice.
This movie is so multi-layered and multifaceted. It's amazing. Now, Spike Spencer, who played Shinji, of course, when I first told him about this opening sequence, Spike's response was to start laughing and turn to me and goes, oh, of course. Of course that's what Shinji does. So, at least it wasn't a shock to him.
I think we can all comment on our first time seeing this scene, that is. Yes, thank you. I was actually with a group of friends watching this for the first time. About 5 guys, 4 girls. We're all sitting in the back of a bank room. It's an anime club. All the guys at once. There was just this moment where we all realized what was going on and just all lost it. And not a girl in there caught on
until he had the handful of baby batter.
No, they even didn't get it then.
No,
I had no idea.
You must have been. It was some of the densest women ever.
This is a bad moment. So.
Handful of baby batter. That's just good cinema.
And actually, the line he delivers after the thing is very controversial. We went away with it that we believe is very true to the original. And there's, of course, this is one of these things. Many different people say it's many different interpretations from the Japanese, but.
Yes, there was one fan who actually told us that we were using gratuitous swearing. And I disagreed strongly. I think that in this particular situation, the fact that a 14-year-old boy is wanking over the comatose body of a 14-year-old girl...
money shot. Oh.
And
should, I think, to have him say... So fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much that right there.
Now, at the conventions, though, we have actually been... screening this at conventions. By the time you see this, you'll probably have seen it at a convention. But that line always gets a huge amount of applause. So
yeah.
It's amazing.
So that one fan who didn't like it, don't watch. Not our problem.
And here's where Aoba gets fleshed out as a little more of a grumpy character. So.
It's just a bad coffee day, I think. Yeah. End of the world would be a bad coffee day.
Well, this whole end of the world day, he's grumpy this whole day, pretty much. Or this whole episode, these 2 episodes, he's like, you people are idiots, basically. But
here's once again Allison Keith, amazing, amazing actress. She's always just done an incredible job with Misato. And I meant to send her. There's some fan forums and some web boards saying, the only reason I watched Evangelion is because I wanted to see Allison Keith do Misato again. So I don't think she ever knew that. So she needs to know that. She's awesome.
She'll never listen to the commentary anyway.
That's okay.
She couldn't be bothered.
Here we have Sele a little more fleshed out.
Yeah, it's Sele the Space Odyssey at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The obelisks.
Okay, does
All
anybody
12 of
else
them.
think that Fusky looks like Jay Leno? With the like, ginormous chin?
Yes, Kawamori.
There's you! That was you! We
Yeah, yes,
need
I'm-
not cast aside our human form.
I admit I'm running the Illuminati. I'll admit it to it right now.
It's interesting they put sound only on the obelisk like that. Like, we don't see the disembodied, you know what I mean?
Voice.
Well, yeah, originally in the show, there was the holographic projections of all of them. That's why they're all different colors. It was little
So they're
holo
having
suites.
technical difficulties at this point.
Yeah, I think they just can't be bothered at this point, or they're not shaving.
They're saving money for the big end of the world sequence.
Which the people who run this, well, that's what they're going to be doing up to the very last moment is just making sure they've got that last $20.
Making sure they have cab fare home.
They learned their lesson from the first one, so that was
Oh, yeah.
from the series.
I can drag that into an interesting occult place. Actually, there's a big thing in this film about the fruit of life and the fruit of wisdom, which, as we all know, we ate the fruit of wisdom in the garden, and
Very significant. Go on.
yes, well, and we're banished before we could eat the fruit of life. A lot of the times, fruit of wisdom is considered to be a material, or intellectual look at the world, whereas the fruit of life, not just being eternal life, but is a spiritual connection with God, and so a little bit too much intellectualism, and things start to go.
I'm going to explain the very significant comment you just made
Yes,
about the
please.
glasses.
This is when you first realize that Rey has turned against Gendo.
She's thinking on her own.
And then not only that, the scene that came afterwards was Shinji curled up with his recorder and the battery was dead. For the first time I saw that, it gave me chills. I couldn't explain why. It wasn't that incredibly significant, but for some reason I just thought that was that was a smart choice.
Well, also, Masato's moved on to canned coffee now instead of beer. That would panic anybody.
That should panic anyone.
All outgoing network lines are being
Actually, we saw that one. There was a poster that had all the female cast of Eva holding that canned coffee. Remember?
Yeah, the UCC coffee that everybody drinks.
Is the uplink
The official coffee of the apocalypse.
You're a post-apocalyptic caffeine source. See, look, Leno. Totally Leno.
Yeah, character design's got a little funny for this film.
He looks a little bit like the guy from Battle Angel.
Locking the main database.
You know.
Negative. The system is being overtaken.
Yeah, there's not much you can say at this point. This is amazing technobabble that they managed to run through this entire sequence.
Which was a big pain in the neck to translate.
Oh, it's always the worst.
And I remember I was writing that part of the script, and I'd come upstairs and I'd say to Jason, "You should be writing this part. It's all boy stuff." I don't know any. I had to do a lot. I'm just a girl. No, I had to do a lot of research, so I actually knew what I was talking about when I wrote all that stuff.
I have a question about this. that
Okay.
You might be able, do you think that she's already set in motion the plan to betray Gendo before this all happens, or do you think she does it now?
No, I think she does it while she's programming the computer.
I mean, but in this sequence or previous before that she was put in the brig for
I think in this sequence is when, because in the episode in the series where she actually goes into the Magi, she hasn't become disenfranchised from Gendo yet.
There used to be a very interesting Ritsuko Kawaru connection that was highlighted in the animated series, just a little bit. It was just touched, and nothing ever really came of it. Anybody should go through the director's versions of the last few episodes and see if there's anything new there. I haven't gotten that far in my copy yet, because they must have gotten Quadra from somewhere. Someone postulated that they got it from Ritsuko, but
What do you mean that it's part Lilith, part?
the same way that
Ritsuko?
Rey is from.
Oh, you mean do you think Ritsuko's mother?
Either Ritsuko's mother or Ritsuko herself. She had. We're not really. There's been some postulation both ways. It's been around the argument table before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's again just another question that they will never answer with this film.
Yeah, there are some people who say that this is Anno's way of saying "up yours" to the fans, because after he finished the series, he got a lot of death threats. And so apparently he sort of said, "Okay, fine, you want another ending? Here you go." And came up with this incredibly disturbing movie.
It's kind of fun. The entire fan wish list really does come true in this movie. You get to see Asuka kick some butt. You get to see everybody kind of come together, all these relationships resolve, but in the most horribly painful, unsatisfactory.
It's like a deal with the devil. You know, I mean, you get everything you would ever wish for, but it's all
just gone wrong, gone horribly awry.
This is Keel, Tom Booker, who we met through Second City. He's
very, very wonderful, very funny guy.
You've seen him in commercials and whatnot. And he's a very talented actor, and he enjoyed playing Keel.
Oh,
Showtime, ladies.
I love that line. Okay, this is our friend Riley Barber, who is also an accomplished stand-up comic. He travels the world doing comedy, and I love the way he delivers that line. And I don't know why I wrote it that way, the Showtime ladies. For some reason, I just kept thinking of some really tough-as-nails sergeant who always refers to the guys, you know, his special elite corps as, come on, ladies, let's go kick some butt, kind of thing. So, again, strictly for my own amusement, but I think it worked.
Well, it's got to be amazing, Kazungas, to think you could take Nerve. I mean, you got to think of the people they were sending in to take this place out. This is the front of Angel Attack. This is not
the end all be all.
This is not Kuwait. These are the people with guns.
Amy does a great job of capturing Buki's whole. Buki's like us, the viewer. She is the viewer's voice, I think. She speaks what we're thinking. You know, anytime there's an Ava eating something it shouldn't be eating, she's the one that shows the disgust and the fear.
She's the most human of them all.
Ooh, that was such a grunty death right there.
He didn't actually stab him. It was a Carl's Jr. sandwich. It got all over the place. So.
Oh, no, this is if you have the DVD where this thing gets shot, this truck. Oh. If you go back and forth, you can make it. It looks like it's coming alive. And our punchy moments while we were recording this, we had a lot of fun with the sound tech. Just going back with Keith Aram, our sound tech on that portion of it, we just had a blast. I think we laughed harder than we had any right to at that point. But you can make the truck kind of jump and come alive. It's great.
Again, with a movie that's so hardcore and so serious that there's times when you just have to escape from the gravity of the situation, and that's when we usually start messing around.
Which is why we're all being funny right now as well. This is one of the most horrific pieces of violence I think certainly ever put to sell, if not film.
Absolutely.
And you can only see it so many hundreds of times before you just have to start laughing as a defense mechanism. And if you're listening to this commentary, you probably have seen it a couple hundred times at this point, so laugh with us. Share the laughter.
Okay, I have to point something out. Whenever they draw Rey, now she's obviously naked, so I understand. But whenever they draw Rey on a poster, they always show her little tiny crack from behind. Doesn't matter, clothes, whatever. They always make a point of showing Rey's little hiney. I don't understand that. So now, what were you saying about the 7 pools?
Oh, okay. What? Yeah, she was kind of sitting in this LCL pool right there with it was kind of shaped out as the Kabbalistic tree of life, kind of a postmodern one, and it's a little off, but we kind of figured out she's sitting in what is called Yesod, which is this one particular sphere of this map of the universe.
And it's the Hebrew for hot tub, I think. I'm sorry.
And it's very much, it's the gateway of death. It's the doorway into the dream realm, into the ethereal. She is on the cusp of death. She is ready to cross out of this world into the next, if we are to read it that way, which, I don't know, I'd like the full shape that way. But yes, of course we have to read it that way.
Why not?
This film is meticulous in its ability to be completely incomprehensible.
Delights in disturbing and confusing its viewers.
Violence, on the other hand, we can all understand.
We understand that.
That's
that we
pretty
can
easy
do.
to get through.
Contact has been lost with control room 77.
Internal monorail track 57 has been destroyed.
We got our Greek chorus.
Again, yes.
Just
Of course,
tells
we don't normally fight
everything we want to know
human
about what's going on.
And then some.
Towson has wonderful diagrams. Oh, here's some wonderful...
Kimberly Yates.
Kimberly Yates dying.
Oh. This I added strictly for my own amusement. I didn't think... Oh, here it comes. Yay! Because otherwise it's like this random person blasting him with flame. So,
That's the only thing we altered from the original Japanese. So
otherwise, honest to God, we tried to do word for word the same as the original. We really tried to. It was almost more of like just a translation than an adaptation. You know?
Now we have the Blake. When I first saw this, I thought they were just filling the place with LCL or something. But this is fast drying plastic. Really good idea to keep people out.
That'll work.
Well, no, it didn't work. But
Didn't work. That won't work.
No.
No.
I wish they would show how they got through that, though. I was always kind of curious as how exactly did they get through the liquid plastic?
They just held the lighter up to it. Anyway.
All non-combat personnel should avoid engaging the enemy.
You don't think?
These guys
Well.
are pros, so if you can't retreat to central,
No, we never got to
you're
see,
better
did
off
we?
Just surrendering.
Allison is so awesome. She plays the most amazing badass.
She really
She's great.
took off for this particular section of the film. Really, she got to shine. Oh dear.
This is insane. The center was
this
made
is
with
a
angel attacks, not
this is
invading our
kind of where you get to see
Yeah.
the relationship between Aoba and the rest of the staff. He's definitely the cynic. Like, dude, we're all gonna die. This is just
Slowly but surely they've
Yeah.
been cutting our defense.
cranky and
Wouldn't be surprised if they've been
he's the
planning it
fatalist
from
of the
very
bunch.
beginning.
Because basically, because he has no action on the side, he gets no love at all of all the characters in this show.
This is really the most involved the three of them really get, and this is a real kind of dirty, filthy deal they have to deal with here.
This scene, particularly with Ibuki, is definitely captures his character.
Of course you can. You've had basic training.
Sort of no patience for weakness.
Well, this line here,
You kill or you die.
you kill or you die. If I'm, Aoba is such a minor character in the series in a way, and if I ever get asked to repeat a line, it's always that line: you kill or you die. So
Those are Ray innards. That's the disintegrated clone tank.
Chamber of Guff.
Chamber of Guff. Yeah.
Not the antechamber, right?
Well, that's
Because it's bodies but no souls.
Well,
right?
I suppose so. It would be worth, God, if anyone ever finds out exactly where that is, and if they can quote it to me, I will be so happy. Because I looked for this symbol, and I cannot tell what they are standing on. Gendo has the Tree of Life in his office. You can see that pretty clearly. I believe he's sitting at Kether. I might be wrong with that, but it would make sense that he would put himself at the godhead of the I am in control.
Well,
You're about to die. There you are, Taliesin. Ooh, you're dead.
Wait, no, I'm not quite. Okay. No.
Okay. Go for a walk.
It gets so silly just dying for a day.
Just
For money. Yeah.
dying for money. Now this originally,
This is Taliesin right there as well.
Taliesin once again did a beautiful job with this. It's funny. I originally.
You gotta love that.
Ow! This was wonderful. We added a sound effect when she blows his brains out. I don't know if you can hear it, but
Oh.
you hear that little. We added that in just because it was so disgusting and wonderful. Now, it's funny. Originally, when I'd sort of envisioned this section of the movie with the guy holding the gun, I sort of envisioned this, like, horrible guy, who eats babies for breakfast kind of thing. Sorry, kid. And then Taliesin came in and did that read, and I was like, oh, that's even colder. I love it.
Now, how significant is the number 667 at this point?
The neighbor of
Neighbor
the
of the
beast.
Beast.
The neighbor of the beast.
He gets the beast's mail occasionally.
It's just that's just
Sometimes
like
the beast dog comes pees in his garden,
he just made this movie for people to freeze frame it and go through it frame by frame and find things, and it's just wonderful artistry, mind screw at the same time.
Yeah. And it was so hard because especially like in this scene, I think Spike was a little fed up with Shinji, I think. But he found his way back to identifying with him and portraying the character. I mean, Spike really did a brilliant job. I cannot imagine anyone else doing as good a job with Shinji.
I can't imagine a more depressing role to take.
Yeah.
To try and deal with his day in and day out.
He's the classic anti-hero.
They've destroyed just about everything else.
If you could be
Why don't
bothered
they
even
get
to
it over
do
with
that.
already?
Yeah.
If we weren't sitting on top of the original Magi system, they probably would have blown us to bits by
And
now.
it's part of what I really, really have always loved about this film is that I don't like him, but there's so many things in him that I don't like about myself. There's so many places where I see exactly where he fails, and you can't fight it. You can't really disagree with it.
Here's the big boom.
Boom.
Butt shaker.
Oh wait, here we go. There's my second favorite line ever in this whole movie. Hold on. Oh, come on. Here we go.
Speak of the devil.
Here it comes.
Damn, haven't you ever heard of moderation?
Yes! I love that line. I love that line. There are just things, no matter how many times I see this movie, there are just some
Just
things
find
that
the
still make
room-
me happy.
The room pauses every time that line comes out. And we all wait for your squeal.
For me going,
Did we already go past BC weapon? Yeah, I guess we already had the. You guys know what BC weapons? I just found this biochemical.
Yep. I'm telling you, honey, the amount of research I did before even setting pen to paper to write this script was ridiculous. It took me about a good 4 months to do this script
You see, Shinji.
So,
because I wanted to make sure that I had everything down.
so these are all spinal columns, basically?
This is the Eva graveyard. These are prototypes that didn't work.
They're humans who reject
So this is a place where rednecks could go in with their own tools and maybe put their own Eva together.
Exactly. Build your own Eva.
We are fundamentally the same creatures.
Yes, there really is
Going to have to
almost a
destroy the
coherent
rest of the Eva series.
coherent thing going on with the Evas, where they almost quite pull the whole thing together, and it makes almost perfect sense. And it would almost fake you to believe that you can figure everything out. Oh, and we have the office. I want a pendulum that big one day.
Yeah, that I was sort of. I looked at this and I was trying to figure out what the perspective is
Yeah,
on it. I mean,
are we looking through a clock? Are we looking down a hall? It's
or does he
so-
really just have this ginormous pendulum in the middle of his room that
I had
if you get up to try and clean a window, it could take you out? I mean, what is that thing?
I had somebody once mention that there are 3 columns of light in this room, and that might represent the 3 columns from the Kabbalah of the middle pillar, the pillar of mercy, and the pillar of severity, and he's sitting at the very bottom right down there in the most earthly, practical place where so many of our problems come from. This little mayor, he's got some kind of, he's just an official. He's not Seeley. He's not anybody.
It's in the lake about 7
He's prime minister.
He's a prime minister. He's kind of cut off from this whole deal.
It could be the 3 columns lighter. It could be just they were trying to save money for the action sequence.
Sometimes a window is just a window.
Exactly.
And you often find if you play that sequence for your cats, they will try to chase the pendulum. And here we're going to get into some major action once Asuka kind of gets out of her.
Out of her funk.
This was an interesting. Will you talk about directing Tiffany through this sequence?
Tiffany did an amazing job with this because it's a very, very difficult transition to go from completely insane inside your head to absolutely. She goes from completely suicidally depressed to the most confident, almost beautiful character in the movie for just a few moments. And then she kind of gets torn up and dies. But Tiffany did a wonderful job with this. Just the emotion behind it, and it was beautiful. And it's actually, if you see when I saw her in the booth, she would actually physicalize the lines. I think that, I mean, I have to ask Tiffany. I would imagine though that playing this role must have been pretty exhausting. But she definitely did a good job.
Especially this line, "I don't want to die," is repeated. I'm sure somebody has counted it out somewhere, but it's.
I did. I don't remember how many times.
Too many times.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the voice of Asuka's mother was done by Kimberly Yates, who I think did a brilliant job. Now,
You got to freeze frame that sequence right there with the worms on the.
yeah, there's a one, like for 2 frames you see a picture of Asuka's corpse and it's all maggot written, and she's in the plug suit. It's really vile.
Yeah, that'll give you some good nightmares.
Oh, yeah. Here she goes. Now she's gonna go kick some butt. Yeah.
This was a big complaint with fans for the TV series. They felt that Asuka got taken out of the picture before we really got to see her go at it, so to speak. Also, remember, this is around the Titanic time, I might add, so this just becomes funnier.
That would make me so happy to think there'd be a little tiny Leonardo DiCaprio in there just getting smushed. I'm never gonna work in Hollywood, am I?
No, you.
I'm done. I'm done.
Leo's fine. His AT field's safe. This is really it's the best we ever get to see an Eva really go at it. They never have ever animated anything with this much action, this much movement.
It's beautifully animated fight sequence. It's
Macross montage right there.
one of my favorites.
She's so happy though. Just
But that's the thing. She goes from suicidal to she's bipolar.
I think she.
I like that she catches it with her face.
I think Xanax would be
That's gonna
good for Oscar.
Little Zoloft, little capsule.
Not
just
even going
something.
to comment on the metaphor right there. That one's good.
Oh, a big old
Yeah,
wank in the
well,
face.
Yeah.
Together, Mama.
Big old exploding wank in the face.
And then her
I love that scene where she drives over the body and the arm goes. There's just some things in it that you're just like, oh, this is so sick. This is great. Rewind. Let me see that again. You know?
And we're on battery power. That's another thing I always like. The Evas are, in fact, if you pull the plug, they got 5 minutes, give or take, depending on the plot line. Great way to keep them in this one centralized location. Great way to keep everything tied together. It's just really, especially for the time, you don't really notice it now because there's so many other shows out that are trying to be Evangelion, but nothing like this had really ever been seen before.
Oh, right there, Tiffany said, eat this Arschloch. That was Tiffany's writing, actually, because I just sort of said, what's an obnoxious word in German? And, because we'd already said Schweinhund. And so then she came up with Arschloch, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. I don't think I need to translate that. Kids go ask your parents.
That's what the internet's for.
Exactly.
Once again, our plans were quite realized. It seems we'll have to fight fire with fire.
So now, okay, do you guys remember, oh, did you see that
Yes,
side
it's a
Quaro
Quaro.
on the side? These things look like, do you guys remember the cartoon characters, the Shmoo
Shmoo, yes.
from Hanna-Barbera? There's something about the shape of the heads on the Eva series makes me think of a Shmoo.
Makes me think of the Mountain Dew Extreme commercials where a guy sky surfs and go catches a Mountain Dew in the middle of the, I mean, they've got their little surfboards and
Or it looks like the head of a porpoise, too. And I never understood, like, why they engineered them with these, like, luscious lips. Do you know what I mean?
It's downright terrifying.
Has dispatched all
It is,
9
they are the
Evangelion
most
units equipped with
frightened
phase 2 engines? That seems like a
Ava's in drag with that lipstick.
Did they plan to start it?
Ah!
they've got the whale heads, it's just,
Well heads, really, really well heads. Well heads. Eat them up, yum.
Now there are 9 of them, if I recall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Of these little.
Yes.
and they're all numbered like like a British spy movie. They've got their little numbers and they're on exile somewhere. And, well, number 9, and that's.
Big pink bubble angel.
Hang in there. So, Hugo, we can still get to Unit 1 through access route
You
20.
think of at this point in the future, we'd have phones we didn't have to lean against our,
As long as you get there in the next 3 minutes, it'll take you directly to
She's
K7.
got more important things to do than cradle a phone there, I think.
What do you think? That's so sad. Her pretty car gets all shot up. That's so sad.
They didn't have headset laws in the future. That sums up Shinji right there. You could drag him away and
Destroy the rest of the Ava series, huh? Is that any way to talk to someone fresh out of the
So
hospital?
this is Asuka's back. She's all feisty and ready to go kick some butt.
So that's 20 seconds each with time
That
to
was
spare.
fun to do. This is so just violent and vile and graphic and just deliciously disgusting.
Everything I love about Japanese animation.
Absolutely. I love the way she cracks the body in half.
it's like a shrimp. And it drips all over her. That's just
She's
wonderful.
bathing in blood.
Erste? Is that?
Erste means
Erste.
first. Or
Means first.
That's one in German.
This is it.
Again, this would be a wonderful place to freeze frame that and find out where they're going in the human brain, where they happen to be headed.
Oh, that
Target has
would be
not been
interesting.
terminated. Should we pursue them? Over.
And now,
So now Misato has been wounded.
we have the talk. This is probably one of the most bizarre relationships. I mean, outside of Rei and Shinji, which is bizarre certainly, but not nearly as
It's not as
combustible.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a worse thing to do to Shinji at this point.
I know. You really want to paralyze the kid?
Yeah, hands off to Anno for finding really awful things to do to all of his characters over and over again.
It's up to him to go save the world, so I'll turn him on. You know, it's kind of...
It's not even... It's that Misato didn't know how else to reach him. But that also is classically how Misato shows affection is through sexual contact. Because then, interestingly enough, in the mind trip scene later, one of the first things that Misato says is, "I wasn't able to be a mother to Shinji after all." It's like, yeah, that's because you cleaned his tonsils with your tongue. That's not a very motherly thing to do.
I'm incapable of doing anything good for
Once again, Allison did such a brilliant job with this role. And again, we caught some flack because we do use the F word in here.
It just fit the emotion. The actor, you know, it was...
And again, I agree that gratuitous swearing is unwarranted, but Misato was absolutely insanely frustrated with Shinji at this point. Nothing she says or does is getting through to him, and he's still whining about, "You don't understand, you're not me." And so, just Misato's character would say, "So fucking what if I'm not you?"
And I think we all would have slapped Shinji around at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it reaches a point where he just, you know, and this is the point, obviously.
And, you know, it was very difficult because it was, during the recording, it was like I wanted to make sure that we tried to give Shinji his due. There we go. I tried to... The thing is, if everyone doesn't like Shinji, and everyone's like, "Good Lord, what a whiner," and can't deal with him, then I don't think that we would have done the character justice during the course of the movie. So that when Spike was in the studio, we would concentrate on trying to really sort of identify with Shinji and his feelings of helplessness and isolation and loneliness. Now that we're out of the studio, we make fun of him as much as we want to.
Why you came here? Why you exist at all?
But I do think that the attitude surrounding the recording can affect the job that the actor does.
Yeah, we did or Amanda primarily made a conscious effort to make sure Spike
learned to love him,
liked himself enough. I mean, you know, to get into the character of Shinji, obviously Shinji hates himself, but there's a difference between a self-loathing and loathing for someone else, and we basically try to get Spike in the direction of, okay, you can hate Shinji, but you have to be Shinji hating Shinji as opposed to
Spike hating Shinji.
Spike hating Shinji because he's whining too much. So I think he got there.
Oh, I think he did a brilliant job.
And that's the end of that.
And
this is another great freeze frame scene coming up where she slumps, and if you're watching this on DVD, well, which you obviously are, if you're watching the commentary, if you pause right after the explosion here,
you do a frame by frame, you'll see
parts of Masato
in bits.
You'll see like her head and torso are in the upper left, and her legs are in the upper right side of the screen. And we just discovered this during the mix because it's literally like a frame, and it's so wrong.
And Ray's standing right there by her, which is just...
Ray's like the little blue-haired harbinger of death.
And this is all that's left now.
And he loses it. Yeah. Spike really did a beautiful job. I love this music too.
That's right. There's one more piece. This is one other piece of classical music that they used for the show. I'm trying to remember the name of it. No.
Is it Warsphere?
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I believe that's right. That sounds right. I know that's.
I think it's called "Music to Slice Up Whales" by.
Flight of the Wailing Man.
Captain Ahab's theme.
Love theme from Moby Dick.
There you go.
Truly just unbelievable.
A wonderful, wonderful battle scene. Just the animation is just brilliantly executed.
Greek wrestling.
Little Schwarzenegger move there. You know,
the sense of scale is really remarkable. We will get into the significance of these poor of these poor 9 white Evas as soon as we stop getting out of character development and back into occult strangeness.
No, we're ready for that. Go for it.
But this is the Bakelite. Is that still Bakelite right there?
That's Bakelite.
That's the Bakelite infusion.
She's dead, wrapped in plastic.
That was Jason doing Eva noises.
Oh, that's right. We had more Phil over here. And now we have the little bits of Ray coming out of the knee.
Really? That's
bits of Ray? The little legs. Yeah.
Ew.
And again, the 7 eyes. Which, I will say now that whole 7 eyes of God thing, you can look it up. Zechariah 4:10, Zechariah 3:9, Revelations 5:6. Look it up. It's in the book. I don't make this stuff up.
Oh, I trust you.
No. Really old people
More than we
made
should,
it up.
probably, but really old people. Old smart guys made this up.
Yeah, I make the point. I'm not talking about the views of the author. I'm not interested in the views of the author in these films. We're interested in people's views and just kind of a collection of people's observations about this show.
I love this one. It's so mean. Kapow! Aw, that's nasty. You got a headache. Great Scale.
I'm sorry, but when I installed the firewall,
Sue Ulu.
Sue Ulu, brilliant actress. It was funny. This last convention we went to, somebody told us this was the scene where someone told us they could read Gendo's lip sync.
Let's end it together.
And they knew what he actually said. And that's when Jason said, "It's animated. How can you read the lip sync when all it does is go blah, 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 blah?"
It's not working.
I think if anyone really thinks about it, they know what he said.
Oh, yeah.
And it really doesn't matter because he did lie.
Yeah. The truth is.
And it's funny, we on the first proof of this, we were done with this movie and we sent this into to Manga, and they thought that we had messed up and left out something because
Liar.
this is just such a where he mouths it and
They're like, "Oh, the sound dropped out." I was like, "No, that was just Anno being obnoxious."
Yeah, what he really said, actually, for everyone who wants to know, is he said, the truth is you do look fat.
in those
Those do
pants.
make your butt look big.
In those pants.
The truth is, I like pudding.
There will be seriousness eventually, I promise. It's funny, Asuka really is the first one to really, really figure out what the deal with the Evangelions is. It was just odd. She was always kind of the slow one.
Oh yeah, she couldn't even understand it.
She was so self-obsessed, it was more than slow.
They were non-existent. And then suddenly, I think it was also because it was very much the feeling that she really was the one who knew what she was looking for. That she was looking for her mother's approval. She'd been looking for her mother's energy. Shinji's not quite sure what he's looking for, and Rei, I don't even think Rei's sure she's looking for anything. But Asuka found just what it was that she needed.
Rei, it's sort of this interesting
This has got to hurt, by
life
the way.
of futility. This freaked me out. If you look close, when they show her again in a minute, you can see blood pouring out of her eye. And that's just vile. See? Blood pouring from the eye socket.
That's the first time I saw that before.
That's not very nice, is it?
That's not happy.
And here's Ibuki kind of being the everyman, so to speak.
Now, did you notice that the G... Was it GTAC? Those are actually the letters for genetic code. And that they're on the display for the EVA monitoring. I thought that was interesting. It made me wonder if they knew what they were doing when they put it there.
Here's our transvestite Ava's coming back to life here with this big lipstick on.
No, okay, wasn't there one that she completely cut in half?
Well, she broke that one like a shrimp, remember? That...
Yeah, but then there was another one she sliced in half.
He's got the big chunk missing. He was right over there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, but there was one. It was like she sliced it and the torso went flying and the legs were standing.
I just want to know, why is it that whenever the Evas get free will, the first thing they do is start eating their own? That's a little disturbing.
What's going on?
Tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken. Longilius Lance, I guess this is kind of interesting to note. I don't remember what occult text this was. I want to say Manly P. Hall. I could be wrong on this. I found somewhere some reference to that lance. The Longinus lance is considered to be a weapon that can actually kill anything. That is a holy relic that will pierce and kill any entity from an angel. It will kill an angel. It'll kill Lucifer himself. It'll kill anything.
Because it has the blood of Christ on it.
Because it is the blood of Christ, and can even pierce the soul. It can pierce and gut the soul.
Because
And
it's really sharp.
Often used as a masculine equivalent to the Holy Grail, which is the feminine. You've got the spear and the cup, which are often you'll see the two of them go hand in hand. Yes, it's all about sex. I thought we knew that. So.
We did know that. It's always fun to repeat that.
Spear, cup.
You said spear. Once again, Tiffany did an amazing job with this. Just this sort of pain and insanity and anguish.
The last character I expected to feel this bad for.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, that's a sign of how well done the series is. I mean, well done the movie is, because I think by the end of the series, you know what, even though Asuka looked sort of pathetic, you just didn't really feel for her. She'd been so unpleasant during the series that it was hard to really get behind her and understand what she was all about. Whereas I think that this finally did her justice.
Everyone finally got a couple moments of their own in this movie. That's one thing that we really have to be thankful for in the movie, is everyone really came together as a character.
That symbolism is so obvious right there, I think.
I think that one's a given, yeah.
Yeah, we will be getting into the whole Christ thing.
Oh, it's going to just go nuts in a few minutes with the symbolism. Once the music starts, then...
now that they've dealt with the character issues at this point. Now it's all about Shinji.
And of course, he's finally kind of getting back in his role, and the first thing he sees is this.
Oh, dear.
I hate it when that happens.
How did he scream so much? This film.
Spike is amazing.
And that is to be continued.
Well, thank you for listening to the commentary on this, and we'll see you in a few minutes on the next one.
Have fun with your little genetic twist as we look at the components of this show.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Winley. I'm the writer, director, producer of the Evangelion movies. I also played Rei and Yui, and we are back with part 3 of the commentary.
And I'm Jason Seeley. I co-produced this with Gaijin Productions, and I also play Aoba.
And I'm Taliesin Jaffe. I watched them through this whole thing, helped out where I could, and I will be...
Drop something.
Ugh.
Sorry.
I'll be picking up the pieces.
Begin.
Right, give me a hand. That was bad. I'm sorry.
I really love, this is probably my favorite Gendo exchange. I just love what Tristan does from this point, even on later where he finally gets introspective. And I really, really love what Tristan did at this point.
That was beautiful. Now, what a lot of people don't remember is that Gendo has the Adam embryo embedded into that hand. So that's why he's talking about joining Adam with Lilith. Tristan did this brilliant outtake, which I hope makes it onto the DVDs, where he sticks his hand in and you hear him going, "Oh, God, this is ridiculous. I know my keys are in here somewhere." It's wonderful.
Yeah, the right hand, I might add, is also kind of significant. It's in the creation picture, of course, it's the right hand of God that gives birth to Adam. Milton's Paradise in Paradise Lost, of course, it's the red right hand, which is the sign of the murderer, the murderer in hell. So those who have taken blood. It's the red right hand.
Wow.
Yeah. And there goes a phallic symbol out of the female
drawing from the ova.
Dear God, the Lance of Longinus returned.
60 days or less. And now we begin...
See, for some reason, this just makes me twitch.
Or the little spike by the throat.
Yeah.
At last, our dreams will be realized.
That's getting Tom
The
Booker.
original Lance of
Wonderful
Longinus
job.
has been returned to us.
That's Dave
We have
Wittenberg.
fewer units than we planned, but we'll have to make
There's
it.
you. That's Taliesin.
Yes, I'm really not Scottish.
This part was actually fairly difficult to record. All these different. This is like a chant of 8 different or 6 or whatever. It's 12 actually, but you know you layer the voices and.
None of us were doing it at the same time. So it's trying to keep up. It's just hard.
I love that where he sort of that Angel just like throws down that chunk of half nod Unit 2. I mean, not that Angel. I'm sorry, the Eva series unit just goes throws it aside. And
This is the obvious Christ being.
There's the beginning. We're going into a wonderful big crucifixion trip, which is what this whole section of the film here is all about. Is setting Shinji on the cross, letting him go into the realm of death and go into the realm where life ends, and figuring out, as any initiate who goes into this does, as Jesus did, as several other people throughout various myths, that life doesn't end. It's just not that simple. And they come back with that knowledge.
okay, I never understood the little wiggly maggot thing that was sticking out of that Eva series unit's arm. That just creeped me out.
For her pleasure, I think.
Ripped for her pleasure.
It's like a chicken when you cut its head off.
Oh.
Now this is. Explain this to us.
Oh boy. Okay, this is the Tree of Life. It is probably one of the most important symbols in all of occultism. If anybody ever around here, there's a wonderful book being written about this right now called Promethea. Find it, read it. This will explain the whole thing to you. It is a map of everything. It is that little map they had in Time Bandits. It tells you the structure of the universe. It tells you the structure of your soul and how they're all connected. Everything great, small. It is all on the map, and it can all be found there. And Shinji was sitting in a very unusual spot of it, I might add, where those angels have constructed this map around him. He is at definitely at a spot where a choice has to be made right there. That's, I believe he was up at Duff, which was actually discovered later on after this symbol had originally been invented. They've changed it over the years, and they find new parts of reality to add onto it, sort of, kind of.
Now this was an N2 mine that just went off again?
No. This was, it's the beginning of Third Impact, and that's the Black Moon, the Egg of Lilith is...
Oh, and that's the eye he pops out of at the end?
Nope, that's Ray's eye.
The Egg of Lilith, I don't remember where this is from exactly, but there is some belief system that the waxing and waning of the moon was the souls of the dead being filled up into the moon, and then that's the light of all these souls, and then it's drained out into the sun as it wanes. So the Lilith is the Black Moon. Is the Lilith egg where all the souls are collected.
And
so again, it's not the Chamber of Guff; it's like the used Chamber of Guff.
And I think there's
the
also
recyclable spin.
There's also a kind of a Hiroshima type parallel. I mean,
it's anime, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one without one yet. She just stole his arm there also, which is kind of odd.
It's a little selfish. Although I guess she needed one, you know. She dropped one.
I can't. Ikari is calling now.
This is where we pretty much the only time we see Gendo just being helpless.
I'm home.
And it was wonderful to Tristan did a fantastic job of playing, you know, this character, the tough as nails Gendo, being absolutely terrified and vulnerable. It's interesting to see. That always reminds me of Marshmallow. It shouldn't, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining this for anyone, but
it was there.
It was there.
You
should think of like campfires, and you put a marshmallow in a stick, and when you try and pull it off, it go whoosh, get all gooey.
And there goes the mask. Now,
I just thought that was a beautifully done scene. Just the waves going past Ritsuka's body.
It's kind of a staple of Japanese animation. They're really big on people learning life-altering truths about the universe just a little too late. Gendo's sudden moment of humility there would have done so much good a month ago. God, a week ago. And now we get into strange territory.
Kind of
Uber Ray.
Ghostbusters Ray.
I love that
That's
being touched by Ray, or being passed through by Ray, makes Ibuki go insane. I just thought that was pretty cool.
It's a little bit too much information in that finger. We figured.
She finally comes to grips with her own sexuality at that point as well.
When Ray fingers her.
Oh.
Oh. Well, there went the mood right there, let me tell you.
Sorry.
A lot of obvious symbolism there that I don't even want to talk about after that last comment. But
I said nothing.
Well, now we're in Adam and Eve and Adam and Lilith, and that's nothing but sex. I mean, that whole story, if read with a certain interpretation, is all about the first, all about the very first life on this planet. It's about these single-celled organisms that didn't have sex. They just divided. Adam and Lilith were exact copies of each other, and eventually, two of these things had to be created from each other and then have sex. Something had to change. There had to be some moment of the first sexual act. It's where coming out of the sea, this whole sea metaphor, people coming out of the sea. I mean, that's where we started, and then we started having sex, and eventually the sex act brought us out into the world. This is where all of this comes from, this lack of sexual organs between Tablis, Quadru, and Ray.
and the symbol they just formed, that 70s-looking mellow gold symbol.
I left that book in the other room. I have it in. It's in the Secret Teachings of All Ages.
It seems something to do with infinity almost. It has this quality.
It's trying to put together. Things are breaking down now. We're bringing the world into a place where everyone is together.
So during that sequence, Key's character Hyuga actually yelled out that the pilot's Distrato is beginning to manifest. Distrato is like the anti-libido. If libido is the force and the energy that makes you want to create life, Distrato is the complete opposite of that, which makes you want to destroy yourself and everything else around you.
Yeah, not to be confused, though. There is occasionally some confusion with that. There was a third thing, which was the death impulse, which is a little different. This was all put together by Weiss about, I think, in early psychology. But it's the anti-life impulse more than just the death impulse. Odd that there's a difference.
The solenoid graph is inverting. His ego barrier's getting weaker.
The AT field is shifting to a pattern red.
And of course,
The fruit of life
more
is
sexual
held by the
Freudian
angels.
thing that
The fruit
penetrates.
of wisdom
Yeah.
is held by man.
Yep.
I'd love to just
One now possesses
resurrect
them both.
Freud and let him watch this
Therefore,
film. And
becomes
just see what
God.
he thought. It's just like,
Now the source of all
Oh,
soul.
Pages and
free
pages
life
of
to form
notes.
again.
he would say, I need to see this man
Will it be an
immediately.
art to save mankind from the
This
very
is available
at
third
4
impact?
o'clock.
This Arno, schedule it.
Or is it a demon that will destroy us all?
Yeah, so now we have the fruit of life
The
and
fate
the
of
fruit of wisdom
mankind
in one
now
place.
lies in Shinji's hands.
The intellect and the emotional and the spiritual all
How
coming
the hell
together.
should I know?
That's one of Jason's favorite lines.
How the hell should I know?
Ryoba.
Who's
That
just
sums
now
up-
speaking for us.
That sums up the whole thing, like, of his character, and it's just like, you know, this is beyond comprehension. Why would anybody know what's going on at this point? And here's where Shinji just starts dreaming.
Oh, it's your favorite scene, honey?
Pay no attention to that Oedipus complex behind the curtain.
There's something about this scene that is so excruciating, and I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of sexual imagery.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the mountains and the hills.
More than sexual. This is motherly. This is womb-like.
I thought if I came here.
This is such a safety place, and it's all staged. If you also notice that there's staging equipment, there are lights and there's chairs
It's
set up.
on a physical stage. Yeah.
And there's something...
But
the
there's something
music
about
even.
it.
I mean, the
Yeah.
music, it's like a scene that was cut out of Pink Floyd The Wall that just disturbed people too much. Or I mean, that face, it's a very disturbing...
With the two dolls?
The two dolls, and it's just the kind of the boardwalk type imagery, you know, they're...
Yeah, there's something about it. Can't quite put my finger on it, but it's just excruciatingly painful to watch.
I think it's just the music. I think there's never a scene with the beach and that music that's ever ends well. I mean, in any movie I've ever seen, and it's just this whole, he tears down, he rebuilds. It's just sad.
Notice also that he's building not just anything right there.
He's building the pyramid
He's
that's in the middle of...
the nerve center.
Yeah.
Everything is very symmetrical. There's a connection everywhere, and we have the sun at the head of this mother aspect.
And the intentional 8mm effect with the graininess. I mean, it's just...
To invoke, like, an old-timey movie memory kind of thing.
Yeah, it's...
And we have now created something beautiful.
So we would kill it!
Which is truly so much more satisfying. At least for me.
I thought it was interesting that also later during the live-action sequence, they show, I believe it's a shot very similar to this.
Yes.
That they used. I'm guessing they used it as a template for animating this sequence, but I'm just guessing.
Well, Gainax went on to do this a couple more times to use a little bit of live action in their shows and later things they did than Eva. Japan has a real look to it, and the animation captures it so well that it's nice to be able to know that you can go back and forth, and that same feeling is still there with the live footage as it is with the animated.
Yeah, it really is just beautifully done.
I feel like I'm being watched whenever I watch this scene. It feels very voyeuristic.
Yeah, I always have a hard time with that scene.
Because I'm just like you.
Yes.
And so now we delve into Shinji's mind trip with mother figures.
All the kids kind of have problems with their mother figures.
Yeah. My guess is that Anno was not breastfed. That is my guess.
Let's hope he never hears this.
We've been loafing around here for the past week.
Yeah, but I think
There's Allison and Aaron knocking boots.
Yeah, I'm going to nominate this for the scene that's most uncomfortable watch with your parents.
I guess I just
Even more than the wanker scene?
Yeah, this one is far worse.
Stupid.
The way her toes curl?
Yeah, and that giggle she gives is just... Well, I mean, she's... This whole... This is where the movie just kind of messes with it, because Masato is a character who obviously enjoys her sexuality, but is made to feel guilty for it. And it's that mother whore complex seeping into everything once again. You're my mother. How can you talk like... Yeah, how can you do this? But it's not his mother. It's his guardian. And it's just such... Oh, this is where my brain starts sizzling a little bit. And it's gonna...
So what that smell is.
Yeah.
This just taps into my fear that any of my teenage friends may one day have children. Terrifying.
You can't.
Why?
Screw up another generation as badly as we have.
Here I come.
I think every generation tries to do the best they can.
Anything. You just stay away from me.
See,
Which is terrifying.
what scares me is how we're just getting deep and away from the movie all of a sudden. It's just like, this is what this movie does to you, you know?
It just makes you think.
Well, here this is... I love this right here, because in my opinion, this is really his image of Asuka. This is not really Asuka talking. And this is his real understanding of why it will never happen. Ever, ever.
Talk to me, but you expect me to understand you. That's impossible.
But do you believe that even with the ending, that it'll never, never happen?
Not necessarily. I think right there that he does, though. I think he definitely feels that he never has a chance in hell.
And do it like
I think at this point, Shinji's almost gone from the story. At this point, it's almost all Anno now.
If I can't have you all to myself, then I don't want
This is really his issues at this point. Shinji's almost dropped away.
We are nice to you.
Liars! You're just hiding behind those smiles, but you intentionally keep things ambiguous.
But do you think that the Asuka character truly does want Shinji at this point in some odd way, or...
But ambiguity only causes...
You know, I just can't imagine it, to be honest.
This is him. This is the inside of Shinji's mind, and this is him verbalizing finally that he does want her. And I always found it fascinating that it wasn't until she was completely comatose and totally unresponsive was he able to ask her for help. It's the only time he's ever been able to ask her for help. He had to wait until she was incapable of response. So it's sort of like everyone always has that friend who falls in love with the wrong people. Like, they always fall in love with like, married people or whatever. Because it's almost like a self-defeating thing. Like, they know they don't have to ever worry about what would happen if this person loved them back. And that, to me, was what this was about between Shinji and Asuka. Now he can finally ask her for help because he doesn't have to worry that she'll say, well, listen, moron, this is what you've got to do.
Comatose girlfriends are much easier to talk to.
Absolutely. Again, Tiffany did a great job. This
I
scene.
love this scene. Just such a wonderfully juvenile attempt to gain some respect, any control. And there's really nothing you can do at that point but be filled with rage and feel awful.
And again, Spike just absolutely, I mean, reached deep down and got every single iota of emotion that this scene needed. Just nailed it. Nailed it like an Amish barn.
God, don't fight in front of the wind.
Honey, the penguin might hear.
And this is just the ultimate objection. No.
No.
I'm not going to help you.
It's interesting. There's in some versions, Asuka doesn't actually say anything. They just put the kanji next to her. Her mouth flaps, and the kanji comes up, and it reads no.
And Shinji has gained
All
this
the liquor back there.
superhuman strength. But it's just so weird. Like, all this happy music starts when this is where it all...
And see, there was a picture, it flashed real quick, of Dr. Akagi strangling Rei. And then it flashed back to Shinji strangling Asuka.
This is catharsis right here. This is a final movement. Everything has finally broken, which is what that's all about, is finally letting go. And if it has to be in a violent act, then that's where we're going with
This was
it.
supposed to be a world without pain.
And so, I've never seen a better representation of pulling the boundaries down.
You betrayed me. You
Which
betrayed
is
my
what
feelings.
the Cabal, which is what the Tree of Life is all about. Is about boundaries and about where things are put and where things are processed to the point where this is what we have.
Then what is your hand?
But you know what, honey, actually, you brought up parallel with Pink Floyd, The Wall, saying...
That movement right there was very much the Wall-ish.
What is your heart?
And did you notice the picture of the Romulus and Remus suckling the wolf? Which is just... Wow.
That's one most people don't forget.
And they're like us, who've seen this 50 million times, frame by frame.
Also, and again, all the things that we're seeing with the weird animation there was the backs of the cells. What we were seeing of these sequences from the other side, the side that most of the animators see them from. We wanted an interesting perspective there of what Eva looks like in some people's minds.
And it's just so bizarre that this happy music plays and the end of the world is starting. And it's just, I mean, it's not truly happy music. The sound is happy, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually pretty,
It's pretty depressing.
Pretty depressing, but...
Music is just chipmunk version. We would play this in fast forward occasionally because there's nothing for voiceover people to do here.
Just beautiful, beautiful imagery.
And now she's just going to start pulling all of these souls back into each other and filling the moon one more time. Angels and wings.
In Ibuki, I think we see, once again, she refuses to fight. Everybody else is kind of fighting it still.
God, oof. Yeah, the
stigmata in her hand open up to absorb the souls. We did talk about doing something nauseous, like putting some ringing on the cell phone. This number is no longer in service.
Oh,
boo, boo, boo. And we're like, no, we'll get so crucified, so to speak.
Here, obviously, is where everyone...
It's like they see their true love.
Their true love before they die. Hyuga, obviously. Except Aoba, who
goes out like a girl!
Dies like a girl, has no true love, and just screams.
Either that, or he just wants Ray to tie him up and beat him. Maybe
that could be it, or maybe he's. Never mind, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, we won't go that way.
I love this part. I think it's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful. And it's just, Amy Seeley just breaks my heart the way she played this, and it's just so happy. She's so happy to be with her true love, and then, of course, she blows up. I need you.
Well,
Beginning and
joy
the end
joy is
are
the
one
gate
and the
to
same.
other people's souls.
Yes.
It's where we
All
stop
is
being
right
ourselves,
with
and
the world.
it's what everyone's doing there is that they're losing themselves in somebody else. And it just so happens that everyone's doing it at once, so it all works out nicely.
Now, there was some theory that Keel was the wandering Jew.
Yes.
That's why he wanted to bring about Third Impact, so that he could finally be laid to rest and not have to keep living throughout eternity. But then there's other people who say, no, that's absolutely wrong.
I heard a funny one, actually, which was that Keel was Cain. How's that for another thought? That he's been marked for immortal... He would certainly know where Lilith is, since he had been shagging her back in the days of Nod. And that he started this whole mess. He was the last person who kind of made the decision that Shinji made to have the world be the way it is, with the first murder and the first deciding the relationship that we were going to have with God with that act.
And Gendo gets what he deserves at this point, I guess, in some people's
just
minds.
wonderful.
At least I think what he thinks he deserves. I don't think he ever really thought that he deserved to see his wife again. 3 girls, 3 goddesses.
This is just creepy. Supposed to be noises of ecstasy as she impales herself.
The ecstasy of penetration is a
Hey!
it's an actual phrase. I'm
Oh,
quoting a book.
Okay, I didn't know if we were just going back into that realm again.
No.
And it's this scream of almost ecstasy of all the people, it's
being
not...
released.
Yeah,
the souls being released.
It's release. It's all about release.
It's not a scream of terror. It's like almost...
Scream of ecstasy.
It's like a cheering, like in a sports arena.
A lot of the texts on the end of the world. Actually, any spiritual movement will always talk about it. It's not joy. It's not sadness. It's not pain. You use all these things to get to this feeling of finding God. As it was, it's find God. God uses you but doesn't break you, and then you beg God to break you. And it's this release of losing everything that you are into a pure spiritual movement. Again, Manly P. Hall. Lots of wonderful books.
Like a spiritual orgasm. Seriously.
There can hardly be one without the other. There can hardly be one without the other.
Interesting.
There's no point where anyone else feels quite that good in there. That's why we do everything we do. That's why I'm doing this audio commentary. I'm hoping to get some.
No, I think all those little rays look like sperm when they swim past.
Yeah, that's very obvious. Yeah, I think it's
very intentional.
This is what our sound engineer Sean calls the evil ex-girlfriend section, because he's saying it just sounds like you're sitting in a room surrounded by your ex-girlfriends being bombarded on all sides by these horrible, horrible voices.
It's the world's worst Christmas party.
Who the hell are you?
And it's, just visually, this will pop your head. Just watch this over and over, and
frame by frame,
in the surround sound with the voices all separated out.
Don't get me wrong.
Let's just get through all of our pain and all the things we do to hurt each other. Let's just get it all out of the way so we can just get on to the good stuff.
And once again, a big, big pain in the neck to translate this scene. Very, very difficult because there's so much going on, so many voices. So once again, we'd like to thank our translators for their diligence and their efforts.
And then, of course, we're getting to nicer things, but this movie was a labor of love for Gaijin Productions. Manda was in the hospital a couple times from it.
Oh God.
Do you want to be at ease?
My body got a little overwhelmed. It just kind of stopped.
This curse of Evangelion hit us a few times in this, I think.
Oh yeah.
To have our bodies and souls join as one.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather die than do it with you.
The eye. That's great.
And then the empty theater. I will say, I got to see this in a theater, and this was just that shot of looking back and not being there was really. You don't get the effect of it unless you're sitting and you realize that it's just almost a mirror of this void that you're not seeing yourself, and it's very interesting.
Oh wow!
Powerful moment.
I love this music. It's beautifully done.
Anybody who's ever lived in Japan will say that these are such well-captured moments that you never get to share with anybody of living in Japan. These are the things that catch your eye. God. Oof.
It's like the beautiful detail work of things that you see but don't notice that you're seeing them, so that when somebody focuses on it and points it out.
The swing scene, obviously.
I'm not gonna start crying through this. No.
Getting very sleepy. No, it's amazing. No matter how many times I see this movie, and believe me, it's been a lot. Still, this ending still gives me goosebumps.
What are dreams?
Dreams? Yes. Dreams.
Now, I've had so many people ask me to explain, line for line, word for word, what this passage means. And this is one of those things that I always tell people, there are things about the Evangelion movie that I understand, but that I have trouble verbalizing. That it just makes sense in a deeper part of my mind than I know how to express. That is the sign of a very, very well done piece of cinema.
I don't understand what reality is.
Is that the three goddesses right there as well?
I think we could definitely one could take it that
I
way.
don't know where to find happiness.
I think
So
there's
you only find happiness in your dreams.
But now,
Now later there's the three of them
This is not
standing.
reality?
There's
This world where no
Asuka,
one exists?
Misato,
It is
and
only a dream.
Ray standing in a crowd. I think it's
And I
coming
don't
up right
exist
here.
either.
I had
This
someone
convenient fabrication
dress
is your attempt to
up and
change
turn
reality.
away from the camera.
I heard a rumor that those were the three actresses that played the characters, but that's not true, I don't think.
I don't know. I kept trying to confirm it. I couldn't find one way or another. Oh yeah, so we have Ray.
There's Ray, Asuka, and Misato.
Kind of a Rocky and Bullwinkle moment in a way, it's like it puts them into the crowd of humans.
Rocky and Bullwinkle
Yeah,
moment?
the movie Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh.
That's
Like there's one guy in the audience going, "Shout out to my peeps, yo."
Yeah, this is actually the most active Japanese audience I've ever seen. Usually it's like a cemetery.
It is a continuation of reality.
But where is my reality?
It is at the end of your dream.
Anybody who studies the Kabbalah will find something funny there. So take a look. You'll find a joke eventually.
I want to hear the joke.
It's you can't explain it. You gotta read the book, Promethea. All right.
Those the flashing of text that was just on the screen. Those were actually bits and pieces of some of the death threats that Anno received after he finished the series, because I guess they just were not satisfied with what he did.
I've heard enough complaints about the last two episodes of this show. I loved them. I think.
Now, I get a sense here that we're inside something.
We're back into the primordial soup where we're single-celled organisms again. I think we're. I mean, there's really almost nothing there, is what I've always gotten. It's practically talking to yourself at this point, because there is no us anymore. There's just it.
There's no physical boundaries.
And Sean did a wonderful job layering with just the effects on this. I believe it just gives the feeling that you are in that state.
It's almost like a limbo state between the world and the moon.
And obviously Ritsuko comes back, and he lets her go.
Misato.
I mean, that's what I meant.
But this isn't right.
There's so many other women.
If you wish for others to exist,
I still just have an issue with his mother straddling him. That's just not nice.
they will all feel fear.
Well, she's Lilith at this point. I think we can all be comfortable that, Demon Mother can straddle anybody she likes. So
That's right. Now, Lilith was originally Adam's first wife.
created the same way he was. She was the same clay.
I just felt pain.
And she just
When I existed
wouldn't
in
be
that
subservient. She wouldn't
So I
be
thought it was
she
all
wouldn't
right
be
to run away.
what was necessary to
There was
keep life
nothing
going.
in the
She was
place I
something
escaped
else.
to either.
So she got kicked out. Basically, Adam complained. She got
I
kicked
didn't
out.
exist there.
And then they made Eve from Adam. She was part of him. And from that was the role. And then either it gets a little sketchy. Either Adam and Eve had children, or Adam and the serpent had a couple. Something weird happened. We had Cain and Abel. Cain screwed up and got sent off to Nod, where Lilith was, and they had children called the Lilim, which were the demons and all the evil, vile creatures that plague the earth. Although in this show, we're the Lilim, so
This whole
There you
sequence
go.
just reminds me of a Calvin Klein commercial. Calvin Klein's Evangelion. Right.
Possibly last forever.
Free gift with Calvin Klein's Evangelion.
Eventually.
The thing is, then also the Lilith folklore, she became a demon who would visit men in their sleep.
Her and her daughters would go
At
around
the
and
time,
Steal
I thought my
men's
feelings were
seed.
real.
I'm sure you all know what that means, and I'm done. But it was fascinating that
nifty thing to mention about angels, I might add, that the whole wing thing that she has going on here. Originally, angels were supposed to have like 6 sets of wings, 14 sets of wings, 32 wings, some that would cover them, some that would work. And they stopped doing it because it was too hard to draw, basically. It's absolutely serious. And
they just made him one set of wings.
which is why it's 1 set of wings now. It's because these ridiculously large sets of wings, there's only so many ways you can represent that. Although I think they do justice to it here very, very well.
Oh yeah.
I just have to say that howl was the hardest thing I had to do voice-wise in the movie. That howl lasted forever, and I did the voice of the Ava, and it just I almost passed out doing that howl.
This is sponsored by Pan Am.
Well, it has the music too, the old pan, and then
This is you don't get to see the planet and the universe having sex very often, but this is what you've got right now.
in a chocolate syrup type moment.
Well, it's kinky, you know.
Yeah, it's 9.5 weeks.
Reality exists in a place unknown, and dreams exist within reality.
And truth lies in your
And this is always the point in the movie I think, the movie's almost over, and it just keeps going. You're like,
I always thought that it was really sort of ironic that Poirot talks about like whatever is in your heart is mirrored in your physical shape, as the uber raised body is disintegrating into this yucky mess.
She's spent more or less at this point.
Does that mean she had evilness in her heart?
She had everybody in her heart at that point. And they've all got their own issues. To deal with now.
There's a lot of issues to cope with.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. There's not a lot of issues when you're all one. Now we've got issues again, thanks to Shinji and his. I've changed my mind. Let's go back.
Just kidding.
Little stigmata on the hands. I never saw any foot stigmata on Eva. I don't think they did that.
I don't think they. I mean, if they did, they didn't show it. You know.
A little cancer there.
Once again, we added some sound to that to make it just juicy and popping and disgusting.
All for you, the consumer. And the world has been reseeded, and maybe we'll come out of it, maybe we won't.
Creatures have the power to be brought back to life.
I suppose that'll be Eva too.
Go on living.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
That's a bad
as
show.
long as you have the will to live.
Oh, God.
Now, is this a maybe kind of it reminds me of a spider dying.
That's this
Very arachnid-esque, isn't it?
the folding down of all these powers. They're kind of coming into its own. We send that poor last soul off on its way.
As long as the sun,
That is
the
gorgeous.
moon, and the
Beautifully
earth
done.
exist, everything.
Anyone ever wants to bother to count those? I have a theory about those crosses. There's supposed to be 301,655,722 angels in existence. Count the crosses. I don't think it'll come up to that number.
I don't
It's just
think
my
so
theory.
But if you took it and accounted for the globe and all that, it might work out.
It's 23, yeah. It's the one to watch for in films. It's always 23.
Will you be all right, love? I still don't know where my
Hats off
happiness
to Amanda
lies.
on this voice, by the way.
I'll still think
I
about
actually
why I'm here.
I actually almost posted a
Whether or not
board.
it was
She didn't
good
do
to
that
come
voice. I've
back.
been listening to it. It's not her at all.
It's
And
just stating the
I
obvious.
now feel like a schmuck. So
You didn't think that was me?
I
No.
am.
And it does a very nice adult
yeah, it was
female
very,
voice.
very separated.
But
I dug that.
Thank you.
what will you do, Mother?
Not mother? Sorry.
God. Oh my God.
And then once again, we flash back to this sort of timeless moment in
When
time.
man created Evangelion, were we trying to create a clone of
But it's interesting because it's almost like
Humans can only exist on this earth.
He's looking back almost on the end of the world in a way.
Along with the human soul that dwells within.
But then we go back, but it's obviously a moment in the past, so it's...
And the sun are all gone.
Somehow I think that it just seems like that moment is immortalized in time.
One person remains.
It is all moments.
But as long as one person still lives,
It will be eternal proof that mankind.
It's like an eternal flame moment there as well.
goodbye.
The Enterprise will run into it one day.
This is a Boogie Nights moment. Oh, one more thing.
Then Kirk will meet some
Why
sexy
does-
alien again later.
Lilith always ends up divided in half. It's just her unfortunate.
That when the
Unbelievable.
first time I saw that, it almost made me cry. I thought that was just. There's so many small little details, little moments in this movie that are so brilliantly done. Now, some fans were telling me a theory about how, since Asuka's eyes in this section are brown, that she is actually a merging of all of Misato, Rei, and Asuka together.
I've heard that theory. It's very valid.
I also noticed that Asuka's bandages, not only do they mirror the wounds that she received while she was fighting the Eva series, but also they mirror the bandages that Rei had the first time that Shinji met her.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw them, and then I realized that it's also compensating for the Eva series injuries. But
There is repetition here, and there is some deeper meaning going on. Is it the arm? Is it the arm in the sling again? There's an arm in a cast.
there's an arm in a cast, and also the bandage.
Which is also the arm that falls off of Rey. When they in the
Oh, that's
beginning of
right.
the sequences, her arm goes kerplop.
That's right. I didn't think of
And,
that.
and then the kind of rainbow across the moon effect. I don't know what it means, but it's...
My feeling is
He's a
this
Floyd
is
fan?
well, the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. We've never tried Floyd to this. Try it. Tell us what happens.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon and the Eva movies. Tell us if stuff syncs up.
But we definitely have the rest of the human population now in weight in the sea and in the sky. That streak of LCL or blood. Well, Lilith's blood is LCL.
There was a lot of controversy as to what this last line should be, and did we do it accurately? And again, I asked all three of my translators to look at it. But actually, my friend Mari Kamada was the one that provided me with the best explanation of why the line should be how it is that in the spoken Japanese language, there's no word for I, so that instead of I feel sick, in all actuality, the character probably just said feel sick, or or instead we translated it as how disgusting. But this, once again, huge amounts of research went into making sure that we nailed this absolutely right, that we were absolutely comfortable with the line that we put here, because I knew that all the fans who'd seen the movie before were going to be curious.
Nobody will ever believe how much work went into this. Every aspect of this film. I mean, even from Japan all the way to the United States. An amazing amount of effort from everybody involved, above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Absolutely. Well,
we thank everyone that worked with us on this. It just was a labor of love, and we thank you.
we really do appreciate all the blood, sweat, and tears that you've all helped us put into this. Thank you so much.
Yes, all.
And we're done.
We're done.